Imagine the sun pressing down on your shoulders, a gentle, constant weight. The sand beneath your feet is warm, shifting slightly with every step. Before you stretches an endless ocean of gold and shadow, the desert. It is a place of profound silence, broken only by the whisper of the wind. And yet, moving across this silent expanse, there is a rhythm, a soft, plodding step, the creak of leather and wood. Smart minds stick together, so if this clicked with you, do me a kind favor, hit like, tap subscribe, share your biggest takeaway in the comments, and pass this on to a friend who'd appreciate it. Your support means the world, thank you. Now close your eyes, the low, guttural hum of a creature perfectly at peace with the heat. This is the camel. For millennia, this extraordinary animal has not just survived the harshest environment on Earth, it has thrived, carrying the weight of entire civilizations upon its back. Tonight, we invite you on a slow, gentle journey through time and biology. We will explore the secrets of the camel's survival, secrets that shaped empires, fueled trade, and gave birth to legends. Our story does not begin in the modern world, but in the deep, ancient past, long before the first pyramids scraped the sky. It begins in North America, believe it or not. The ancestors of the modern camel roamed the plains of what is now the United States over 40 million years ago. They were small, no larger than a hare, and they had no humps. Over millions of years, they crept across the Bering Strait land bridge, spreading into Asia and Africa. As the ice ages came and went, these creatures adapted. They grew taller, their necks stretched. They developed a tough, leathery mouth. But it was only when they moved into the heart of the world's great deserts that they truly became the ship of the sand. Now let us understand what makes this animal so extraordinary. You have likely heard the myth that camels store water in their humps. That is a gentle misunderstanding. The hump is not a flask, it is a pantry. It is a mound of fatty tissue that acts as a battery of nourishment. When food is scarce, the camel does not starve. It eats its own stored energy, breaking down that fat into water and sustenance. 1 gram of fat yields just over a gram of water. Those massive humps are, in essence, a reservoir of both calories and hydration, waiting to be unlocked. And as the fat is consumed, the hump shrinks and droops, only to swell again after days of rest and feeding. But the hump is merely the beginning. To survive the desert, the camel had to rewrite the rules of biology. Consider the heat. The desert sun can push temperatures past 50 degrees Celsius. A human body begins to cook at 42 degrees. The camel, however, lets its body temperature fluctuate wildly throughout the day. It does not waste precious water on sweating to maintain a fixed temperature. Instead, it allows its internal heat to rise, soaking up the sun like a giant rock. Overnight, the desert air cools drastically, and the camel radiates this stored heat away, dropping its temperature back down to normal. This adaptation saves gallons of water every day. When the camel does sweat, it does so reluctantly, and only when the heat reaches a critical point. Now let us move deeper into the physiology. Let us look at the blood. In most mammals, when water is scarce, the blood thickens and becomes viscous, putting a strain on the heart. The camel's red blood cells are oval, not round. This is a brilliant trick of evolution. The oval shape allows the cells to flow freely through the bloodstream even when the blood is thick and dehydrated. They can stack and pass through narrow capillaries without clotting. This means the camel can lose up to 40% of its body weight in water and still survive. For a human, losing just 15% is fatal. Let us consider the nose. The camel's nostrils are not simple holes, they are efficient machines of moisture recovery. When the camel exhales, the air passes through the nasal passages, where a mucous membrane traps the water vapor. This moisture is reabsorbed and sent back into the body. The nostrils also close into narrow slits, preventing the intrusion of blowing sand. This is paired with the most expressive eyelashes in the animal kingdom. They are long, thick, and double-layered, shielding the eyes from the glare of the sun and the sting of the wind. And if sand does find its way in, the camel has a clear, nictitating membrane, a third eyelid, that sweeps across the eyeball like a windshield wiper. Let us step back now and look at the feet. The camel's foot is a marvel of engineering. It is not a hoof like a horse, but a wide, soft, leathery pad that spreads out when the camel places its weight upon the ground. This acts like a snowshoe, preventing the animal from sinking into the soft dunes. When it lifts its foot, the pads contract, allowing the camel to pull its leg free from the suction of the sand. The toes are splayed, and the nails are thick, offering grip on rocky terrain. This is why the camel is known as the ship of the desert. It does not plow through the sand, it floats upon it. But history is not just about anatomy. The camel is a story of partnership. The relationship between humans and camels is perhaps 6,000 years old. It is a relationship that changed the map of the world. Before the camel was domesticated, trade across the Arabian Peninsula and the Sahara was impossible. There was no way to move goods, no way to carry water, no way to cross the endless voids. But when humans learned to harness the camel, the world expanded. The desert ceased to be a barrier and became a highway. The Silk Road stretched across Asia, powered by the steady, stoic stride of the Bactrian camel with its two humps. The incense route wound through Arabia, carrying frankincense and myrrh to the Mediterranean, carried by the one-humped dromedary. Imagine the scene on that ancient road. It is the height of the Nabatean kingdom, around 300 years before the birth of Christ. The city of Petra, carved into the rose-red cliffs, is the hub of the world's trade. Camels arrive in massive caravans, sometimes numbering in the thousands. The air is filled with the jingling of bronze bells and the low grunts of the animals. They carry pepper from India, silk from China, gold from Africa. But just as important as the cargo is the milk. Camel milk is rich in vitamin C and nutrients, a staple of the Bedouin diet. It is the lifeblood of the desert traveler, and upon the death of the camel, its wool is spun into warm cloaks, and its hide is stretched into water skins and sandals. Let us pause here and think about the culture of the people who live with camels. The Bedouin, the desert nomads, do not look at the camel as a beast of burden. They call it Ata Allah, the gift of God. The camel is their wealth, their currency, their status. A Bedouin can identify a camel by its gait, its markings, and even the sound of its groan. They speak to their camels in low, soothing voices, and the camels respond with a deep, rumbling affection. A mother camel will mourn her calf for days, wandering the dunes with a sorrowful cry that echoes across the rocks. We must also look at the resilience of the camel in times of war. The Persians used camels to conquer Babylon, for the horses of the enemy were terrified of the strange smell and sight of the camel. In the heat of battle, the scent of a camel could send a cavalry into chaos. The Romans, when they ventured into Arabia, struggled mightily against the arid climate until they captured camels from the local tribes and learned to use them. Even in the great Mongol invasions, the two-humped Bactrian camel trudged alongside the horsemen, carrying their provisions across the Gobi Desert. Without the camel, the Mongol Empire might have starved before it reached the gates of China. Now let us slow down further and examine the life of a single camel in the desert. We are on the edge of the Sahara in the quiet hours before dawn. The stars are still out, brilliant and sharp like diamonds on black velvet. The camel rests on its sternum, its legs folded beneath it. It chews its cud slowly, methodically. The sound is rhythmic, a soft, grinding crunch that blends with the whisper of the wind. The camel does not sleep deeply, it is a creature of vigilance. Its brain shuts down in segments, allowing it to remain alert to the movements of predators or the scent of distant water. As the sky begins to pale, the camel rises. It unfolds its front legs first, then its back, a slow, graceful motion that takes almost a minute. As the sun crests the dunes, the camel knows what to do. It turns its massive body to face the sun, presenting the smallest surface area to the heat. This is called the sun orientation. It maximizes the shade on its body. The thick wool on its back acts as a thermal blanket, keeping the intense solar radiation away from its skin. While the outer wool reaches scorching temperatures, the skin remains comfortable. This is a secret that humans did not replicate until modern times with reflective clothing. But where does the camel find water in such a parched world? It does not rely solely on oases. The camel is a master of finding moisture in the world around it. It can eat tough, thorny desert vegetation that no other herbivore can stomach. Its mouth is lined with tough papillae, hard, fleshy bumps that allow it to crush and swallow the sharp thorns of the acacia tree. It eats salty, dry plants that would dehydrate a goat. And from this dry biomass, the camel extracts every droplet of moisture. Its digestive system is a long, complex labyrinth where water is pulled from the plant material and recycled through the liver and kidneys. Let us look at the kidneys. This is perhaps the most brilliant internal organ of the camel. The camel's kidneys are not larger than other mammals, but they are incredibly efficient. They can concentrate the urine to a thickness that resembles syrup. They can reabsorb almost all of the water from the waste before it exits the body. The feces of a camel are so dry that the Bedouin use them for fuel. They are solid, spherical pellets that burn hot and clean. The camel's hump, as we mentioned, is fat, but there is a dangerous double-edged sword here. When the camel breaks down fat for water, it produces metabolic water, but the process also requires oxygen. In extreme heat, with limited air, this can be a challenge. However, the camel's lungs are designed to handle this. They have a high residual volume, meaning they can take shallow, rapid breaths without panting. Panting wastes water, so the camel simply breathes heavily but slowly, releasing the heat through the evaporation of water from its nasal passages, reabsorbing it before it escapes. As we journey through the history of the camel, we arrive at the age of exploration. The great explorers of the 19th century, men like Richard Burton and T.E. Lawrence, relied heavily on the camel, but they suffered horribly until they learned the Bedouin secrets. The camel does not run, it walks. It paces, moving both legs on the same side at the same time, a gait known as a pace. This creates a rocking motion like a boat on the ocean. The rider must adapt to this rhythm, relaxing into the sway rather than fighting it. Lawrence famously wrote that the camel was the most valuable, the most patient, and the most loyal creature in the world. Let us consider the social structure of the camel. They are flock animals. They bond deeply with their companions. In a caravan, the camels are tied head to tail, and they follow the leader without complaint. The leader is usually the most experienced female. She knows the path to water. She can smell a distant thunderstorm from 100 miles away. When a sandstorm approaches, the camels sense the change in pressure and will stop dead in their tracks, turning their backs to the wind, closing their nostrils, and lowering their heads to the ground to wait it out. They teach this to the younger camels. It is a living memory passed down through generations. The beauty of the camel is also found in the desert nights. When the temperature drops and the moon rises high, the camels breathe deeply and the mist from their nostrils drifts into the air. A traveler lying on the cool sand, listening to the breathing of the camels, finds peace. They are not loud animals. Their calls are low, guttural, and melodic. A mother calling her calf makes a sound that is almost like a deep, sorrowful sigh. The calf responds with a higher-pitched bleat. It is a quiet conversation, a gentle harmony in the silence. Let us now turn our attention to a specific era, the Islamic Golden Age. The camel was central to the spread of Islam. The faith traveled along the trade routes that the camels carved into the earth. The annual Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca would have been impossible without the camel. Thousands of pilgrims traveled from the farthest corners of the known world, carried across the heat on the backs of these gentle giants. The caravans were massive. They were like mobile cities, moving at 2 miles an hour, with the camels bearing the sick, the elderly, and the sacred texts. In the ancient kingdoms of West Africa, the camel brought salt. Salt was more valuable than gold in many parts of the continent. The great wealth of the Mali Empire was built on the back of the camel. Camels would carry slabs of salt from the mines in the Sahara down to Timbuktu, and they would return bearing gold and slaves. It is a complex, sometimes dark chapter in history, but it underscores the camel's role as the engine of commerce. Without the camel's ability to survive a 90-day journey across the Sahara, these empires would have remained isolated villages. And yet, despite their toughness, the camel is a gentle creature. It is slow to anger. When it is mistreated, it will remember. A camel can hold a grudge for years, and there are tales of camels seeking revenge on cruel handlers. But when treated with respect, the camel offers a deep loyalty. It will share its water. It will shield its rider from the sun. It will stand between the rider and a hungry lion. Let us talk about the body temperature regulation in more detail. We mentioned that the camel's temperature fluctuates, but how does it cool down? When the sun sets, the desert ground releases its heat rapidly. The camel will lie down on the cool sand, spreading its legs to increase surface area. It will then breathe heavily, pulling in the cool air and panting just enough to lower its core temperature before the dawn. This allows it to survive the next day with a cool base to work from. It is a cycle of thermal banking. The camel's eyelashes are not just long, They are dense and almost tangled. They create a shadow over the eye, but more importantly, they act as a barrier to the ultraviolet rays bouncing off the pale sand. The eyes themselves are protected by a thick, translucent membrane that the camel can close voluntarily, allowing it to see through the membrane even in a blinding sandstorm. It can walk for hours with the membrane closed, navigating by memory and instinct. We also need to appreciate the wool. The fur of a camel is not a uniform carpet. It is a complex structure of short underwool and long, coarse guard hairs. The guard hairs protect the underwool from the harsh sun and the wind. The underwool is fine and delicate, providing incredible insulation. When the sun is hot, the wool traps a layer of air next to the skin, which acts as a barrier. The outer surface may be hot to the touch, but the skin is cool. When the nights are freezing, the same wool traps the body heat inside. Historically, the camel also played a role in transportation of news. The Pony Express of the United States is famous, but the camel courier service across the Middle East was just as vital. Letters from the Roman emperor to the governors of Syria traveled by camel relay, changing mounts at intervals of 20 miles. The camels were fast, able to sustain a pace of 8 miles an hour for a few hours if necessary. They were the information superhighway of the ancient world. Imagine the desert market at dusk. The camels are arranged in a circle. The men gather around them, drinking tea, their faces illuminated by the firelight. The camels chew their cud, watching the fire with large, soft, brown eyes. The smoke from the fire weaves through their thick manes. It is a scene of profound tranquility. The camel is not just a tool, it is a companion, a member of the family. Its dung is collected for fire, its hair is collected for weaving, and its urine is used as a washing agent and even as a shampoo in some cultures. Nothing is wasted. Every part of the camel is used, illustrating the deep bond between the animal and the harsh environment. Today, the camel thrives. While modern machinery has replaced them on many trade routes, they are still prized in many parts of the world. They are the mainstay of the remote tribes of Somalia, the Afar of Ethiopia, the Tuareg of the Sahara. In modern Australia, where feral camels roam in the thousands, they have become a marvel of invasive biology, proving their ability to adapt to even the harsh Australian outback. As we drift toward the end of our journey, we return to the rhythm of their movement. The rocking gait, the gentle sway, the creak of the saddle, the quiet crunch of the sand beneath the wide, leathery feet. It is a sound that has echoed across history, from the Persian Empire to the Oregon Trail, where the US government briefly experimented with camels in the 1850s before the Civil War derailed the project. The camels thrived there too, proving that their survival mechanism knows no borders. Think of the thirst of the camel. It is a patient thirst. It does not panic. It drinks rarely but deeply. When it finds water, it can drink up to 40 gallons in a single session. This water floods the digestive system, filling the tissues and cells. The oval red blood cells allow this sudden influx of water without bursting. They are flexible and resilient. The camel literally soaks up water like a sponge, storing it in the tissue spaces of the body. We think of the desert as a dead place, but for the camel, it is home. The sharp spines of the cactus, the salty crust of the flats, the sparse, bitter grass, it is a feast. The camel chews thoughtfully, horizontally moving its jaw in a circular motion that grinds the toughest leaves into a digestible pulp. It does not rush. It savors every bite, extracting every nutrient. And now, as the stars wheel overhead and the fire burns low, the camel lies down. It curls its long legs beneath its belly, folding itself into a compact, warm shape. Its head rises and falls with its breath. Its nose twitches, catching the scent of the distant mountains, the scent of the rain that fell 2 weeks ago. It knows where it is. It is the master of this landscape, and in its calm, rhythmic breathing, there is a lesson for us all. Survival is not about speed, it is about adaptation. It is about patience. It is about understanding the rhythm of the world around you and moving gently with it. So we leave the desert tonight with the image of the camel standing silhouetted against the fading twilight. The sand is quiet, the wind is soft, the world is still. This is the legacy of the camel, a history of resilience, a history of partnership, and a history of quiet, steady survival. Sleep well, knowing that in the vast emptiness of the desert, life finds a way, one gentle step at a time.